Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. Welcome to Book Club Corner. My name is Jewel Green and you are with us in beautiful Scarborough, Tobago. We're a few days from independence, and as you know, whether you're celebrating or commemorating national independence or personal independence, we want to make sure that you know what independence is about. Think about it. Don't just do it, right? Because the whole country is in it. Figure out what it is. Look it up. Talk about it with your friends. Independence is an important step, not just for the nation, but for you as an individual as you grow. So thank you for being here with us today. Listen, we have a fantastic and amazing author here with us today, and her name is Sharifa Energy. I love that. Welcome, Sharifa.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're very happy to invite you and to have you here with us today. And Sharifa has written an amazing book. She's a poet and activist, and she has written a book called Galaxy Walk. Fantastic name. And she is the 2019 Eastern Eye Arts Culture and Theatre Awardee, 2017 UK Entertainment Best Poet Award winner, and she facilitates workshops from Palestine to Sierra Leone. And those are just some of the highlights. There were too many things to put here. Some of the highlights. So welcome, Sharifa. Amazing book, Galaxy Walks. I had a read of this book. Is like a statement. That's how I felt when I was reading it, right? But we're going to get into it. I know you all out there, those lovers of poets, lover of poetry, lovers of the literary word. I know you all are chomping at the bit to get into it today with us here on Book Club Corner. And we want to thank our sponsors. We usually do wine, but Shariza more influenced me. We are sipping on some water, right? And when the water company sponsors us, we'll tell you what water we're drinking, right? But we're just having some water, a little, refreshment today, a little hydration. You must be hydrated. Those who are going on the parade ground for Independence Day, remember to walk with your water. But we're having a sip of water today, but we want to thank our sponsors, Joe Field Wines and Eye for Design. Eye for Design gives us this wonderful centerpiece. It's usually fresh, but they gave me this one and I've held on to it. It is so pretty and useful. Thank you, Eye for Design, my good friend Neve, and Celeron Joe Field Wines. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We support local here, and we're going on a quick break where they're going to be showing you some more local things. And when we come back, we're going to be getting into that book, Galaxy Walk, from Sharifa Energy. See you in a few minutes.
I'm so relieved Javel gave me this money. Now I could enjoy the holidays with my family and not have to worry about monies for bags, books and shoes.
Javel? Who is Javel? She could give me some money too?
Javel is the July-August vacation education loan at Bethel Credit Union. Up to $20,000 to help with all additional expenses during this July-August.
Yes, you heard right. Call the Bethel Credit Union and ask for Javel. She'd hook you up with the money to take care of all your additional expenses this holiday season. Open to new members too. Get up to $20,000 and have a worry-free holiday with Javel. Call 639-8226 or 631-1336 or message us on Facebook for more information.
And we're back to Book Club Corner. We're here with Sharifa and her book, Galaxy Walk. And Sharifa and I were having a little tete-a-tete, some girl talk, right? We're having some girl talk during the break. And, you know, there was an incident. It's been in the paper. People are talking about it. And Good Samaritan, we want to identify him and give him some props. Good Samaritan, Javi, he works on the boats. He's one of the captains, and we want to thank him for being such a good Samaritan. You know, the details of the issue is that one passenger on the boat, right? This is the glass bottom boat, guys. And big up and props to all the boat people, all the staff, all the persons who work on the boats, contributing to making our tourism product and making the guests and tourists, local and international, feel welcome. Props to you. So this, one of the passengers touched, assaulted, right? One of the other passengers, a female passenger, and the captain stepped in to intervene and basically, I don't know what was said, right? So we're not going to get into that. But whatever was said, you were there, you said.
So I was there. So big up Frankie Tours, you know, that's the boat. And, you know, people can hear the commotion. Oh, there was a commotion in Tobago. And this is like the first day that I got here. But the guys on the boat, Javier, I met him as well. They're just good vibes, young lads, young guys just working on the boat. And a girl was inappropriately touched. Him as the co-captain went over to talk to the guy. And then the guy stabbed him, like two in his arm, one in his neck. So I was on the smaller boat at that point. So they brought him off the big boat, brought him onto the small boat that we were on. You know, a nurse was already on the other boat, so she was seen to him. When we got onto our boat, like, it just gave him a towel, gave him some water to drink, and then they took him to the hospital. But I think what's interesting is people always talk about, even in England, there's a lot of conversations around African Caribbean youth. And even especially here, like, people are always here, like, be careful, be mindful of them. But I'm like, these guys were cool. And the reality of what actually happened was him intervening to stick up for a young woman that's being inappropriately touched by a customer from Trinidad, and an older man in comparison to the boys, the young men. And Javier, he intervened to support the girl, and he ended up getting stabbed. So we never hear that narrative of young men actually sticking up for women and the cost that it comes with. You know, as women, whether it's in the UK or here, sometimes we are a bit like, oh God, do I stick up for myself? Do I just, even myself when I'm traveling, inappropriate towards me or threatening me or something. Sometimes I might tell the men that I'm with, just on the basis of the fact I don't want anything to kick off, any of the men to get harmed, just because of someone going to defend me. So I think we're aware of that, and the fact that that's what happened. But in the narrative, that would be interesting, because I'm like, black youth are looked down at. They're the ones that are looked at as perpetrators of violence. But really, it was like hugely disrespectful for that to even happen on a boat. But at the same time, it was more the case of a man being an ally to women at what cost? And I think, you know, big up Javier. It's unfortunate that that's what happened to him, and bless him. Like, but at the same time, you know, luckily he's stable, he's good, he's recovering.
He's back at work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He went the next day.
Hard at work.
Yeah, he went the next day and they sent him home. But like, you know, trust me, that the guys that work on Frankie Tour's boats, they're really lovely. And you know, they're just young. They're trying to make money, and they're trying to do their work. So really, that shouldn't have happened. But I don't want the narrative to be just like, oh look, in Tobago as well, there's violence and all the rest of it, because it wasn't like any sort of like so-called gang stuff or like some street situation. It was just a young guy sticking up for a young woman being inappropriately touched.
Yeah, we have so much to good things to say about our youth, about our young
touch.
Yeah, we have so much to good things to say about our youth, about our young men, and as you said, Sharifa, an ally.
Yeah.
An ally, because he stepped in, a good Samaritan. And I want to thank him and big him up. Props to you, Javi. Thank you so much for what you did. And we are so sorry this has happened to you in response, but we wish you well, a speedy recovery. And, you know, anytime you want to come on Book Club Corner and chat with us, we're here. But, you know, when we talk about these issues, these are gender issues. These are gender equality issues and male-female relation issues.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so upset that somebody had to come to tell him,
yeah, like
you can't do
exactly.
this. You can't behave in this way. I mean, and he got stabbed in the back of his neck. So this person was walking away. You know, I just want to make the point that when we look at male-female issues, what we want is for our men and our women, our males and our females, we want balance. We want to get along. We are going to be here together for quite a long time. Let's make it work, okay? There's no reason for you to disrespect people by touching them on the bum, right? There's no reason for you to be touching people inappropriately. You don't know where they came from. I mean, that girl could have been very aggressive in her response to him, right? You don't know who you're dealing with. Guys, check yourself, okay? Just putting that out there. And the reason why I brought that up is because I got into one of your poems, right? And I thought of the issue while I was reading the poem, because the poem talks about this young girl and how she's saying, you know, she wonders if her partner, the person she's with, will get aggressive based on the fact that she doesn't want to go too far.
Yeah.
Right? Physically. Right? And these are some of the things we have to think about as women, right? How are they going to be responding to us? And, you know, men, don't use your strength and your size to bully people to get what you want. That's not the way the world works. You might get your way today, but trust and believe, nobody's going to respect you for that. Maybe some of your, as we say in the Caribbean, some of your stupid friends, right, might get you a bounce, but trust, the community does not respect that.
Yeah, I feel like the male ego can be very fragile, but especially when men are not, when you get men that are not being disrespectful towards us, and then other men feel like, oh, you have the audacity to stick up for these women, like, you know, as though,
How dare you? That poem, where did that poem come from for you?
I was kind of like personal experience as well, but it was also like, I think sometimes, like it was also reflecting on the experience of some men that are just like hypersexualized or living in communities. So when I was in Sierra Leone, I did meet somebody, and he spent a lot of time. There was a place that I used to go to, and the young girls that I used to work with, they were involved in sex work. And at night I'd hang around with like the women that were my age. I was in my early 20s at the time, so women in their 20s, 30s, and a lot of them were involved in sex work too. But one of the guys that I met, he'd like hang around a lot with the sex workers, and they were respectful towards them, don't get me wrong, but at the same time I could see his way of interacting with women was very bit forceful, not really having boundaries, not really understanding affection in the way that it could be, and very entitled, you know, almost like expecting something just on that basis. And it was quite uncomfortable, but it also made me think about a broader level, because it's not just in Sierra Leone. I'm not going to try to paint, you know, I even say in the poem about it's not only men with brown lips who face this ordeal, it's men with white skin who do the same thing too. You know what I mean? White men can be very scary. Even when I was in Sierra Leone, when I see the white men that worked in the independent mines, not in the independent mines, in the mining companies, some of them would be really disrespectful. Older men, if I'm just talking to the local men, they're my friends, you know. I remember the one guy, Hassan, but there was like an elderly white man who worked there, and he just kept intervening in the conversation. Like almost like, why you hang around with those Africans, you know what I mean? You should be hanging around with us. Because I'm from England. I'm like, are you mad? I'm in Sierra Leone. If I want to hang around with you, I'll come to a village in England.
As we say,
you know, but it was just the disrespect. Yeah, but I think it's more just about boundaries. But I also feel, because I do workshops on consent, I actually have a one-woman spoken word play on consent. It's called Wombs Cry, which is going through like, I'm re-editing it. And I've done the play in like boys' schools in London, boys' football clubs in Leicester, at colleges and stuff as well, with like both, like all genders. And it's mainly on consent. But the reason why I did this is because I also felt a bit frustrated and upset about men not having boundaries, especially as a young woman. But I also felt like, but no one teaches boys what is a boundary. No one does that, even in the British education system. In England, no one's teaching the boys, by the way, this is inappropriate, don't touch the girl, don't approach somebody like this. So for me, it was like teaching young boys like what consent actually is, because I was like, as a young woman, I have to take responsibility. I can't wait for men to do this. I can't wait for the education system to do this work. We have to do it. So even then, it was opening up conversations, like having conversations with the young boys that were young footballers, to be like, you know, what about slut shaming? What does that mean? Some of them were like, yeah, but she's wearing this though. And then we'd break it down, and I'd explain to them, I'd say, but even women that go for Hajj, Muslim women in full habaya, hijab, like even them, they get sexually assaulted or inappropriately touched in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So or
it's
even
not
in
about
Egypt.
Dress.
This is what I'm saying. So people
It's not about dress.
people make this assumption, if a girl's in like Batty Riders or I don't know, a bikini or something, she should be inappropriately touched because she's asking for it. And I don't agree with that.
Of course not.
So I think it's about us.
I have you know, when we talk about these issues of consent, boundaries, and you say we have to teach the young men about that, who taught us?
Exactly.
Why is there a disparity in what we've learned as women and what they've learned as men? Why is there a disparity, and why do we now have to come to? Because I was not
exactly.
I would not walk around and grab men's behind, right? Why is that? I know it's inappropriate. So how did I get that message and not the males? And this is not, we're not bashing anybody, right? There are tons of appropriate, you know, the boundaries, a lot of good men out there. Guys, we love you to death. But what we're talking about are the exceptions to the rules that make the experience not so pleasant. Okay?
100%.
And harmful. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, like I think, you know, boundaries for everybody, really, because I've seen, you know, even we have to teach ourselves what people's boundaries are, especially if you're like on the spectrum or something like autistic. People don't know, and I understand that. But at the same time, I'm like, just physical boundaries, other kind of things. Like I've seen in Ladbroke Grove in West London, I was with my friends, one of them, he's African Caribbean, and a white woman just went in and approached, touched him in his crotch, and I was like, are you mad? Like, if that was a woman.
Are you joking?
And people laughed at him. I was like, that's not okay.
No.
How dare you? How dare you hypersexualize him to the point you think that's okay? I wasn't happy. But at the same time, I'm like, it's just about us, but also about us learning to assert our boundaries. So even now I'm in my early 30s, and I just get happy even when I'm able to create a boundary, because sometimes you're in an uncomfortable situation, but you don't even know how to say no.
Yeah.
Or you're like, you don't even know how to say, this is what I like, this is what I don't. And then now I feel proud of myself, even if I'm able to like get someone to leave that I don't want them to stay or something, or to know what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not even able to understand that as yet. Like, okay, I don't like that. Or, and I think, you know, being taught that, because otherwise, even as young women, sometimes young women feel like they should be like, yeah, sit there, look pretty. Yeah, if your boss makes a move on you, let him.
And be compliant.
Yeah,
Be pliable and compliant.
exactly.
And you're not here, young women out there. And this is some of the messages. These are some of the messages that we have to bring out. We have to start airing them out and not covering them up.
Yeah, even to just be aware of what is not okay. So sometimes I might say something to you and you might be like, actually, I didn't realize that was that. So sometimes I was a bit slow in realizing actually that person was very inappropriate. And sometimes you just learn to cancel out the noise of men, like men saying like things that are inappropriate, and just like, you know what, we're so used to it. Sometimes I can't even be bothered to argue about it. You know, I'm just like, pretend I can't hear.
Yeah, you choose your battles.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like when I was young, I remember when I was 17, 18, I was becoming more like, you know, in my physique, or all the rest of it. And I remember walking around in Leicester with headphones in, but with the end of the headphone just in my pocket. It wasn't even plugged into anything, but just so I can pretend I can't hear the men that are saying stupid things to me.
You know, we have a culture. It's not as prevalent as it used to be. I am seeing, well, what we call catcalling.
Yeah.
Right. So you're walking in the road, and you know, sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you don't feel it's okay, but I don't think it's something that we should feel we have to accept. Right?
Yeah.
Because I've walked in the streets, and you know, you get the catcall. They're not doing it, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes it's not because you're cute; they're just practicing.
Oh.
Right? No, I'm so serious.
Yeah.
We think all the time it's about attention, but sometimes they're just practicing bad habits that they are seeing around. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And they do the catcall, and you hold your head straight. You don't want to say anything. You hold your head straight and go, ugly.
Yeah, that happens in England.
Ugly.
Yeah.
You feel you're nice. You know,
you think you're too nice.
Yeah.
You're ugly anyway.
Listen.
Yeah.
We don't need that ugliness.
But you know what? I have to be honest. Like, even I've spent like 5 weeks in Trinidad, and I actually, do you know what? Props to the men, because I do feel like the men, they're very graceful.
Yes.
They're complimentary, but they're graceful.
Yes.
So like, if I see men, and you know, I'm older now, so before, when I was younger, they'd be like, "Oh, what are you looking at?" kind of thing. But now, you know, men will be like, "Oh, miss, you look good."
Yes.
And I'll be like, "Oh,
they
thank
compliment you so
Yeah, they compliment you, but then
sweetly.
they keep it moving.
Yes.
And I'm like, do you know what? That's really lovely. Like, thank you. Oh, you look beautiful. But they're not trying to, oh, give me your number. They're not doing any of that. They drive past.
Yeah.
They just compliment you. They're graceful.
Yes.
And I'm actually like, you know what? It's nice.
We love that. We love when, you know, they
but
pass.
I'm like, they're I think men from here, they are quite gentlemanish.
Yes,
Like in
they
the
are
UK,
very chivalrous. They will pass and
Exactly.
say, you know, I like your head wrap, sister.
Yeah.
I like your dress.
And I like that.
You
I
look
like-
nice. And they will
yeah.
just keep morning, you look nice. And
Yeah,
they
like
will,
a complimentary society. I like doing that.
I love
Like
it.
even when I walk past older women, if they look good, I was like, auntie, you look really beautiful. And they're like, oh,
Yes.
like in England, they'll be like, oh, like, you know, people don't know what to do with themselves. But I like to compliment people.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a healthy society
It
to not be
is.
stingy with it. If I was looking at you and just looking at you and not saying, oh, you know what, actually you look nice. Like,
Yeah.
I like that type
Listen,
of
we're
character.
going on a quick break. On that note, we're heading to a quick break. And I just want to tell you, if you're on the streets today or even home with your family, your friends, compliment them. Tell them something good about themselves, right? They look nice. Let me help you with some compliments. You look nice. You smell nice. I like what you said. You know, that dish you made yesterday, it was really nice.
That was very kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're a kind person. I really appreciate how you help and see about this family, right? Let's be a loving community. Let's take a page from Javi's book, Good Samaritan Who Stepped In, and let's be kind to each other. Let's be each other's keeper. As we go on this short break, Sharifa and I are going to be sipping and girl chatting, but we'll be back to continue talking about her book, her advocacy work, Galaxy Walk. See you in a few minutes.
I can't live without you, I can't be without you for too long. Cause when I'm around you, I feel like the heavens has come down. I feel it in my soul every time we on the road, it's a miracle. A million strong come together.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, cause this is your show.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
We're back here on Book Club Corner with author Sharifa Energy. And you know, listen, the girl chat is real here today, right? I think we could feel the vibes. The girl chat is real here today. And Sharifa, I want to ask you, I want to get in your business. I like to mind your business.
That's fine.
What are you doing in Trinidad and Tobago, girl?
So the reason why I came, firstly, my friend, she's like my auntie, basically. She's originally from Trinidad. So I've always felt like the culture's kind of been close just through her, and they're like my family. But at the same time, you know, half the population are Indian here, displaced Indians, and I'm second generation Indian migrants, like living in England. And at the same time, I needed time to write. I need headspace. I've not had time to work on my own things so much in the last few years, especially since like in the last year, everything happening in Palestine. That's something that's very close to me. But at the same time, just in general, I don't get breathing space. I don't get time to work on my own stuff. It's always like, this is happening, someone's been arrested, go to the police station, do this, do that, organise against the Israeli drone factory in my city. And being an activist takes a lot of my head time. So I don't ever have headspace just to write and focus. So for me, I wanted to be somewhere beautiful on an island and just have writing time as well as like swimming time, being in nature, some healing time for me to just focus. And work on next things, because otherwise, you know, my book Galaxy Walk came out end of 2019, just before the lockdown. But I'm like, it's coming up to 5 years. I need to work on other things. People want me to work on other stuff as well, but it's more the case sometimes I just don't get that time, and I'm like, I need to honor that. Like people are waiting for me to send them like a chapter or something. I need to do that, and this is a really beautiful space. And I think being away from home, you kind of have like the more of the eagle eye to just like observe stuff. So even now when we're having conversations, I'm able to connect it to other things. I'm able to think more about certain scenarios that's happened that I need to articulate to just bring more light and like try to create roots of certain topics and stuff. So yeah, I want writing time as well whilst I'm here.
Listen, all the writers out there, Sharifa has come with a message, right? Get to Tobago. It's the perfect space to write, to create, to be creative. There's a saying, being creative takes courage. And sometimes it takes courage for you to step away, for you to say, listen, I need a minute for myself.
100%.
And I need to not just unplug, but I need to stop, right? I'm in the flow of this, that, and I need to stop and just focus on writing. So if you're out there, if you're a writer, if you're in Tobago, listen, book a guest house, book a few days somewhere, and go up in the east, go Charlottesville, go Speyside. If you're from the east, come up in the west, book a few days, stay down in Crown Point, sequester yourself and write. Okay, we're just putting it out there. Tobago is such a beautiful space. Scarborough is so lovely. We have such wonderful beaches. If you're in Trinidad, come on over, right? Come on over and write. Be creative. Tobago is the exact space you want. It gives you that creative energy as well.
It definitely is so stunning, and it just reminds you, like, I love nature. So even yesterday, I was in the sea at Pigeon Point, and it got a little bit dark, and it was like raining, and then after that I saw a big pelican, and it was just coming towards us. I was like, wow, that's like the dragon. And I just feel like it reignites the wonder in you. Like I feel like a child. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cool. Wow, I want to see this, I want to see that. And then I see all the birds at sunset just coming over near the pier, climbing. And it just reminds me, like, you know, I've got a poem in here. It's about starlings and the murmurations and the way they all dance together at the piers in England, you know? Like in Brighton, it's stunning. Like I was just like, wow. And I've got, and actually being able to have that time. And at the same time, I love nature. I love like forests. So I've spent time, like I spent 2 weeks in the Amazon in Venezuela. Early 2018, so for me it's like it's next door, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, so I've been going hiking, I've been going to the waterfalls with trail seekers. Trinidad is a real place, like it's been beautiful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hiking in Tobago too.
You know, these conversations make me feel I'm not getting out enough.
Come along.
Yeah,
we'll
I'm not coming out my house enough. You know, we take it for granted.
Yeah, we do.
live
When
here,
things
you
are on
know?
your doorstep, you do. Yeah.
We go to the beach tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. Because, you know, it's the next day and the next day and next. People, it's vacation time. We're heading back to school for a lot of persons. Get some beach time in, hiking time in, live in nature. Don't let people come to your island and tell you about it, okay?
It's true.
You go out there and experience it. We're going on a quick break, and when we come back, Sharifa is going to be reading to us my favorite time, right? Book Club Corner's favorite time when we get read to. She's going to be reading to us. So get your snack, get a drink, come back. We're just going to be out for a few minutes. Don't go too far. Don't run away. Come back with us. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Are you ready to optimize your wedding business for engagement season and book more clients? Refine is the place to be. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Saturday, 14th September 2024 from 9 a.m. Pigeon Point Heritage Park, Tobago. This premier event is designed specifically for Caribbean wedding industry professionals. Gain expert insights, practical knowledge, and valuable connections that can help you thrive in the destination wedding market. Register now at refinesummit.com. It is time to refine. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Get insider info, advice, and insights from local, regional, and international players in the destination wedding market. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Saturday, 14th September 2024, Pigeon Point Heritage Park, Tobago. It's time to refine.
Stop. You don't have to sneak in. You don't have to sneak. Pigeon Point Security, we have an access pass. You don't have to sneak in.
What access pass is that?
The new Pigeon Point Breaking Beach access card. With this card, you can get free access to Pigeon Point, a free umbrella, and a free chair. So make sure you get your Pigeon Point access card.
I can get that?
Definitely. This is your access card, so you can now go into Pigeon Point.
Okay. Guys, we outside in Pigeon Point, sun and we enjoying it with we access cards. All social media links to Youth Voice and Pigeon Point would be tagged, and stay tuned for it.
Get ready to celebrate with us in style on the 31st of August at the Magdalena Grande Beach and Golf Resort for our premium all-inclusive Independence Party from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. A premium drinks inclusive event with top DJs, fireworks, and a slumber party for the kids for only 100 TT. Tickets for this premium all-inclusive event is only 400 TT at Island E-Tickets and the resort. For more information, call 660-8500. Mark your calendars now for this premium all-inclusive Independence Party.
Now is the time for it to jam on somebody. Hand up in the air, madness everywhere. It in with
Welcome back, people. Lovely people of Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, Dominica, Curacao. Listen, wherever you may be viewing from, whether you're watching on Amplia 102, you're on YouTube, Tobago Updates, you're on Facebook, Tobago Updates, or you'll be viewing it on Book Club Corner's YouTube channel after today, we welcome you back to Book Club Corner. We're so happy to have you here with us. And my favorite time Sharifa is going to be reading a poem that I got into from her book Galaxy Walk that I love. Right? So get comfy, guys. You know what it is. We don't have to tell you. And if you're new to Book Club Corner, find a nice comfy spot. She's going to be reading to us. We have water today. Okay? We're not bibbing today. Take it away, Sharifa.
Thank you. So this poem is called Has He Learnt to Make Love Yet? And this is the poem that you were referring to. She wonders if he ever met anyone with the patience to teach him. His love didn't need to be shown by digging nails and biting teeth, by leaving skin broken on the tip of a nipple. Not understanding all forms of touch do not equate to affection. A woman may want to hold and kiss you, but still say no. He spat out what it means. Recognizing the distance in his eyes scarred from war, orders received once by terrified child soldiers, his experience of intimacy to only occur with women who are sex workers, women deserving, the most sacred. By sleeping with women who desired him, no expenses, he'd lost all sense of innocence, of young men learning to touch, of young men learning to stroke a cheek without feeling the need to shove their tongue between gaps in closed teeth. She remembers hot tears, falling, eyes that cried from having to explain not wanting to go further, only desired minimal intimacy, a burdensome encounter, wondering if he learnt to be soft with his touch, if men thought aggression was sex, he ever learnt to make love. No suggestion that only those labelled as savages with brown lips face this ordeal. There are men with white skin who hypersexualize women. They've continued to move their hips. When a woman's laid limp, she counts seconds into minutes, impatient for his mission to end. How many have penetrated unaroused women, women who aren't ready yet, who need more than sexual frustration, who need to be listened to under heavy breaths? A woman who worked for a man, but now she's tired, she said. Women who deserve more than death threats, who deserve autonomy, who deserve to hold a man without him twitching to get his stick in. Women who are deserving. Men deserve to experience a softer world. A world that said it's okay to feel butterflies where mouths collide with butter lips, where men are not desensitized, unafraid of locking fingers, stroking palms in admiration like excited children, where love is the goal, where selfish lust takes a back seat, where men have learnt to respect boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Good stuff, people. Good stuff. I tell you, the imagery of what you say, men should feel comfortable in a world where you feel butterflies. You know that feeling when you meet your love and you're like, oh gosh, she's so cute.
Yeah, like,
oh gosh, he's so handsome. And you're feeling those butterflies.
Yeah, like to be in love and not for it to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to do this and I'm not going to have respect for her. I'm going to keep it moving, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just like, there can be more beautiful scenarios. Like, it's okay to fall in love. It's okay to be loving.
The imagery where you talked about the hands, touching of the hands, stroking of the palms.
Yeah.
You know, it's these little things that make being in love, falling in love. Even when it's your a sibling, right? Loving your family, right? Holding your mom's hand, holding your dad's hand as you cross the street. You know what I mean? Touching them on their shoulder.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, giving them a hug.
Yeah, I feel like there's sometimes, like, I come from a family, we're not huggy.
Mm-hmm.
So I learnt that,
Yeah.
you know? I remember the first time, I used to hug my grandma. She'd go, yeah, money cupboard, Sarah boyfriend chair. She means, I know, you've got a boyfriend. And I'll be like, oh my God. And, you know, I'll be like, oh God. But like now, you know, I always hug my grandma. And, you know, my family, just a bit awkward. Like if I go to hug my sister, she'll just stand there. Same with my dad. Sometimes he goes to shake my hand. I said, what's this, a job interview? I'm your child. What are you doing? You know? And I was like, I have to teach them like how to be more warm or affection.
Yeah.
Not like physically, because I'm like, it's important. My love language, I love like hugs and love and affection. And, you know, it's like if someone gives me a nice hug, I'm like, oh, you know? And I'm like, it's important for us to just learn that there's a kinder way. And I'm saying, I understand some men, they don't know. Like I understand and I empathize.
Some women
exactly
don't know how to just be soft, and this has nothing to do with the feminine.
Yeah.
This has nothing. Softness and being kind and
Yeah.
sweet has to do with humanity.
100%. Like, I understand some
Yeah.
people are neurodivergent, they're on the autism spectrum. Yeah, you need to be mindful of their boundaries. Like, even me, I'm learning. One of my friends, she's always a bit like, oh, I don't do hugs. And we for us, we're like, oh, but we love you.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't do this. And even then, it's like, okay, you have to learn that maybe sometimes some people don't want to be touched, and that's okay too. So I'm like, even as a friend, I'm not even talking about in a sexual, intimate
Yeah.
way. I'm like, okay, how do you move around that? Because
Yeah.
I'm someone, and even like my middle sister, 100% she's on the autism spectrum. Because I remember when we were children, I'd like go to hug her or like show her love, and she'd run away from me, and I used to get really upset.
Yeah.
But as I'm older now, I'm like, the girl, she's on the autism spectrum, so physical touch is quite
Stressful.
it's stressful for her. Like even my brother, even on Eid day, she'll run away from him if he tries to hug, and she'll be like, oh no, it's too much for me, and she gets stressed out.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I understand sometimes some people have like, they're neurodivergent, they're
Yeah.
on the autism spectrum, and we have to respect that too.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes a touch on the shoulder,
Yeah.
a holding of the, it could be quick.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We in the Caribbean, we know how to touch. You meet an older person, they'll give you a quick.
Yeah.
Let me
punchy
pinch you.
cheek,
Yeah.
cheek.
Let me pinch you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't always be a hug, but sometimes, you know, that quick touch, that I am here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
100%. But even for
You know,
grounding,
that's so nice.
even for grounding, sometimes I need, like, I do it myself. Like, I will like hold my hand, my wrist, like I need
Yeah.
to touch something. But sometimes even then, like if I'm with someone, if I'm feeling a bit anxious, I need to hold your hand. Like I need that little grounding moment. But yeah, even I'm not gonna lie, even me sometimes I'm not that type of person. I remember one of my old best friends, she used to always want to like give me too much, like hold me, or like we were in Granada in Spain, and she was like, oh, this is such a romantic place, please hold my hand. I was like, please don't, you're making me feel more single than I am. You know. But she was like, no, please, I just want you to hold my hand, like it's so
Yeah.
romantic, and it was too much for me. You know, so I was like,
Boundaries.
yeah.
Boundaries, people.
Yeah.
We're talking about, you know, boundaries, love, good Samaritan, helping, being brothers, keepers, advocates. This is such a good conversation, I
Yeah.
find, in especially where we are at in the society, talking about crime, looking at crime, dealing with crime. But what we also want to be looking at and focusing on is the good parts.
Yeah.
Right? The parts that where people are kind to each other, where we are supporting each other, and we support local here on Book Club Corner. We read local, we drink local, right?
Yeah.
You all know me. I drink local, I read local, and it's not that we don't love the other books, but we want to make sure our local community feels the love. Charity begins where? At home. So come on, guys,
Yeah,
let's do it.
if you don't platform your own community,
Yeah.
who's going to platform them?
When we talk about you know, community and advocacy, you do a lot of advocacy work.
Yeah.
So you've done some work with the Women of the World,
Yeah.
and that's WOW Global.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Tell us about this photo, this work that you're doing, and why is it meaningful to you?
So this project was actually with the Brixton Youth Theatre in South London. So there were like young people. I did like poetry writing workshops with them, and then we got them to record in the studio. Some of them went away, created visuals, but then I rehearsed with them and got them to perform at the South Bank Centre. So that was actually a performance at the South Bank Centre. I performed alongside them, but it was just beautiful to encourage them. So that's the other thing sometimes, like my creativity's on a backbench because for me, like empowering other people to articulate their own stories. So even in there was girls that wanted to talk about being approached in London, in their school uniform by older men and all this kind of stuff, you know. So it's like supporting them to share their own stories. But you know, same thing. I've been to Palestine. I've done stuff with like the Freedom Theatre. I was their first. I performed at their first feminist theatre festival, and facilitated workshops with young people in the refugee camp that go through a lot of bereavement. And in Palestine, you know, there's no such thing as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because the trauma continues, you know?
Yeah.
So even then, working with some of the young people, so one of my young friends now, he's like my little brother now, but he used to come to my workshops, Jamal Abu Ja'as. I'm really proud of him. Like, he's facilitating workshops with the children and the young people in the camp now. And it's beautiful to just see, like, you know, each one teach one, what that can lead to, and the way the Freedom Theatre support their community to articulate themselves and be like involved in theatre is incredible. And you know, I just do a lot of different things. I work with so I get a lot of freelance work. People just book me. So I've done workshops in like prisons, like HMP Franklin Prison, which is like one of the worst prisons in the UK, immigration detention centres, when men or women are released from immigration detention centres, or prison, or women that have experienced domestic violence. So, and then when I go back to the UK, I'm going to do workshops with young people seeking refuge, young refugee communities and stuff. So for me, it's always like, how can we support people to articulate themselves and use poetry and storytelling and writing as a therapeutic tool?
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, creativity, poetry, it's very cathartic. Writing.
100%.
Whether you're doing prose or poetry, very cathartic. You know, when we talk about PTSD, I was reading an article, PTSD can be stored on your DNA.
Yeah.
So literally, another generation ahead of you may not have gone through the exact same thing as you.
Yeah.
But it's remembered in the DNA.
100%.
They did an experiment with mice, and they shocked the mice every time they came to this particular spot. And the mice went on to have children, and they didn't shock the children, but the children were cognizant of this particular area and going further than that. So they would just stop at this. And they found it so amazing that the mice, it's like they actually taught without teaching through the DNA. Because when they looked on the DNA, they found an extra, they found an extra, there was extra information. And they said, okay, well, something is going on here. How did they, you know, why are the next generation of mice behaving like we shock them?
Definitely. I think, you know, like even what state is a mother in when she's pregnant? What's going on in the home? What's going on in society? Are they living under occupation? Are they being bombed right now? Like even right now in Gaza, in Palestine, like what is like the impact on these women, the serious trauma they're having to give birth in the worst conditions, no anesthetic, you know, no epidural, that kind of stuff. Well, it's so upsetting.
For the Caribbean, our something relatable for us would be Haiti.
Yeah, 100%.
Haiti is having similar issues.
Exactly.
Refugees, they're moving from Haiti, heading to other islands.
Yeah.
Looking for refuge. And, you know, coming from a Caribbean island like Trinidad and Tobago, where we probably would have experienced a coup, never. We had 2 coups, but you may have never experienced it, right? And it wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
We don't have that in our DNA, that understanding of what that means. I caution us to be kind to our Haitian brothers and sisters in the Caribbean and our international brothers and sisters who may need our support. You know, we're coming into Independence Day on the 31st of August, and as we celebrate, commemorate that, let's remember to be kind to those who may not be experiencing independence right now. Right? Experiencing their own piece of hell wherever they may be. And let's be kind to them. We had our Venezuelan refugees coming in, very close by neighbors. Haiti is now going through it, have been going through it for quite some time, and we want to be mindful of it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Go look it up. There's tons of information on the internet, right? So get yourself educated, get yourself knowledgeable. As a Caribbean person, as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, heading into independence, let's understand what is happening, not just in the region, but across the world, right? Because what we're talking about is not just national issues, but international issues. These are humanitarian problems we are talking about, right? So we want to put that there. We're heading into the green room, right? Something a little lighter. We need it sometimes, right? A little sweet with the salt. And what does it mean to be a traditionally published author? That's what we're talking about today. So traditional publishers, they take on all the financial risk and pay the author upfront and advance. Royalties are paid in advance and they earn out, you will get some money, right? Authors don't pay to publish, but you invest in marketing and pushing of your book. So that's what it means when people say I'm traditionally published. And we want to thank our part sponsors for the Green Room, and that is Mansa Enterprises, as well as Caribbean Book Marketing. Mansa Enterprises is a bookstore right there in Calder Hall, a new bookstore, and we want to thank them for sponsoring. And the Caribbean Book Marketing Hub, they have coming on stream an author directory. So if you're an author out there, please get in contact with Caribbean Book Marketing Hub and get yourself listed on that author directory. So if you're traditionally published, that means you got money to publish your book versus self-publishing where you would have paid. So what that means is that sometimes you get the opportunity to don't have to spend your money, right? How were you published?
So this is actually with like a small indie publisher. So it's mainly, they didn't have that much money for like marketing, which I didn't realize, to be honest. But like so they didn't really approach like big media, Guardian or whatever. So I had to do a lot of stuff independently. So the way that it works for me is they take like a small percentage. So I can order my books in bulk and then I pay for the print and stuff, but it's almost like self-publishing in the way that they're that small. So next time I want to work with something like that, either they pay me to write, that's the idea, you know, and to have a lot more support in terms of being out there, because like my book actually is the front of it, Benjamin Zephaniah, who's one of the biggest poets that came out of, well, originally like from the Caribbean basically, but like he passed away end of last year. He's from Birmingham, and he supported me, and he's amazing. You know, he's like, even in his book, Life and Rhymes, you know, he's got pictures with like Peter Tosh, all these other people, and he supported me. So I was like, really, that should have got pushed a lot further. So I feel like sometimes you need to make that decision on like who's actually going to push you, rather than like having to do stuff yourself. Because otherwise, if I have to do all the legwork myself, it's not really pushing me to the stage that I need to be at. So next time I want to work with a publisher that knows what they're doing a little bit more.
You brought up such an important point. A lot of authors self-publish in the Caribbean. And what we have to understand is that if we're going to go the way of self-publishing, and the benefit of that is that you have 100% autonomy and control of the way it's published and your rights. Okay? So there is a benefit to being self-published, a big benefit. But there is also the issue of that marketing support after the book has been published. And my company, I am Caribbean Book Marketing Hub, and we do a lot of work with authors because of this self-publishing. Large amount of authors who are self-published right here in the Caribbean, and they don't have a lot of support. So we're putting it out there. If you want to go the publishing route, think about whether you're going to be traditionally published or self-published. If traditional publishing is what you want, where they pay you, you may have to get an agent that will send out a query letter for you to the publishing houses so that they can hear about your book and be interested, tell you, you know, we're interested, we love your book, we're going to pay you to publish. Or you can self-publish and therefore, you know, take your time and pay for it. But be mindful, while you're writing, you should be figuring out, how am I going to be marketing my book? Where am I going to be marketing my book? Where's my book going to be placed? What bookstores can I get it in? What bookstores are open to local books and local authors? And once you have those things in mind, it won't be that hard. But as you're saying, it's a good bit of legwork, right?
Yeah, that's why, to be honest, and I also think sometimes, let's not think small. So, you know, for me, I'm from a working class community. I'm from a Muslim community, a community that it is mainly a lot of South Asians and African Caribbeans. And I don't know anybody really that's like from my area and has got books out, right? So for me, as soon as a publisher showed a bit of interest, I was like, yeah, amazing, I'll do it. Really, I should have done a bit more research on like marketing deals, publishing, what does it entail? I just went with whoever. I was just so excited that someone was interested in me.
Yeah.
And really, there would have been bigger publishers that would be interested.
Yeah.
So I should have gone with someone a lot bigger that's going to be proud that, oh my God, I'm working with you. Not just like, oh, we can make this much money because they're going to be one of our best sellers. So really you have to look at it like, how can this work for both of us? And at the same time, you know, like thinking about how do you grow? Like, you know, I first started off just selling my neo soul and jazz spoken word EP in Camden, like just selling them on the street. So how do you do it whereby there's other people, like almost like an agent style, where they're like, you know what, you need to turn up to this interview. You need to go to talk to the person at the Guardian, and they'll interview you, you know, and not have me having to do all the networking. I want to just write, you know.
Yeah. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time, but this conversation has been so informative, insightful. We've been able to bring forward some issues that a lot of persons are talking about right now. And we're so happy to have had you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here and, you know, just inviting me and being such a nice vibe as well. I really appreciate it.
Listen, come stay in Tobago. Bring your kids and caboodle, move here. I tell people all the time, Tobago's beautiful, right? If you get here, stay here. And if you're from here, well, you know, you should travel, but
yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But, you know, we're so happy to have the opportunity to chat with authors here on Book Club Corner. And next week, we will have another opportunity to chat with another amazing author. And he is Kieron Isaac. We will have another fantastic author next week with us. And we want to welcome Kieron in advance because he's coming across from Trinidad to chat with us about his book. And if you're looking for us, Book Club Corner, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram, and you can also find all the Book Club Corner episodes as they are happening live on the Tobago Updates platforms. We want to thank you for sticking with us, for drinking with us, for chatting with us. Talk about these issues among with your friends, right? Don't let these issues die. Gender issues, nationalism, independence, refugees, women's rights, so many good things to talk about. Share this episode with your friend. You'll be able to find it on the Book Club Corner YouTube channel after today. So again, thank you, Sharifa. Cheers to you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers to you. Thank you for being here. And thank you, viewers, for being here with us on Book Club Corner. We'll see you again next week, Wednesday, when we chat with another local author.